I'll call it now. Josh Tracy will be in the Australian Football Hall of Fame.
It's the reason why they are the outright TABtouch, call it what you will, premiership favourites.
Just imagine putting Luke Jackson into that Melbourne side now as a 1-2 punch with Max Gawn. I've just got a feeling that West Coast will be competitive in this game. At some stage, Carlton are just going to lose a bit of their vibe.
Justin is not going anywhere, and why would you want to go anywhere? If Fremantle aren't playing in grand finals and winning premierships over the next 5 to 6 years, I will fall off my chair.
Well, hello, my name's Mark Stevens. I'm at Zero Hanger HQ here in Cremorne, Melbourne, and this is the latest episode of The Outer Wing, brought to you by TABtouch. Real punters play here. As usual, I'll be joined by the great Digby Beacham, the best journo over in WA. Let's bring it on. Well, Diggers, good to have you back on board. What's the vibe like over west?
Very exciting, Stevo. Great to have a chat to you again this week on the Outer Wing. There's a lot of excitement with Fremantle, and you can understand why, because they're refreshed. They came back after the bye. They stared down Geelong. They got the job done there despite kicking inaccurately. They sit atop the AFL ladder, and all roads head towards September.
Now, I had a look at their injury list, Diggers. I think there's one name on there. I mean, this is talk about being blessed. What's happened? Who's the strength and conditioning coach? Give him a rise.
Yeah, exactly right. No, this is the thing, isn't it? They have been incredibly healthy for the most part in 2026. There's been a couple of little bumps in the road along the way. That's inevitable in the course of a home and away AFL campaign. But all in all, they are a healthy group. They're a happy group. They're a connected group. And there's no glaring holes in anything Fremantle are doing at the moment, Stevo. It's the reason why they are the outright TABtouch, call it what you will, premiership favourites.
Yeah, so we move on to this week, obviously Gold Coast. Look, when you look at it on the surface, it appears to be a danger game, but Gold Coast aren't travelling too well. What do you make of the revenge factor? We saw that loss in the final over there, which when you look back on it was pretty average performance by the Dockers. They'll be looking to fix that up.
They will. Absolutely they will. And look, they played some pretty poor football early in that game, and then when they flicked the switch, they were very, very good, and they fell short by a point. Oh, look, they'd love to straighten up Gold Coast this Sunday, and I suspect they will. As I said just before, they're rested. They played Geelong last Thursday, so it's a lovely break. They haven't had to travel interstate like Gold Coast will. This Sun side is not travelling anywhere near the level that we saw Gold Coast march into the second week of September in 25. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity for Fremantle to punch Gold Coast in the nose and basically continue on their winning ways. I think Fremantle win comfortably. The only hiccup potentially here, Stevo, and I know we talk about Fremantle and is it a danger game, is the weather. We're getting a heap of rain from Friday onwards, upwards of 2 or 3 inches, so we are going to get a saturated Optus Stadium surface.
Yeah, and the Suns are used to playing in wet conditions, believe it or not, because it's always greasy. It's not ideal for footy up there on the Gold Coast at night time. So that might be a small advantage. But just looking at the midfield on paper, the Suns look great. But you're backing in Freo to get it done in the guts.
Well, I am, Stevo, just because of their centre work. Stuff that we saw against Geelong. We've seen it on more than one occasion this year. Luke Jackson, and we'll touch on him in a second. He's at a level which I don't think even Fremantle could have envisaged he would get to when they were so active in pursuing him, and they got him, I think, for that 23 season. He, for mine now, is one of the form players, if not the form player in the competition. He leads that following division with aplomb. And when we see the likes of a Caleb Sarong back in that midfield mix, Andy Brayshaw was heroic. He was outstanding against the Cats. That third quarter was brilliant. And you filter through a Young, you filter through a Shea Bolton. They back particularly deep in there. And one thing we saw with Gold Coast in that performance on the weekend just gone, they didn't get their hands on the football at a key juncture in that third quarter. And they were playing catch-up from there. Unless they get that sorted, they're going to be in a world of pain here against Fremantle.
Yeah, they are. And we'll stay on Luke Jackson because I think Phoenix, our executive producer here, a gun, by the way, a Melbourne supporter, he must be so flat watching Luke Jackson run around. He is the guy that, make no mistake, played a key role in that premiership in the ruck in the third quarter where they came from nowhere. He was a unicorn that night. He's still an absolute superstar. Just imagine putting Luke Jackson into that Melbourne side now as a 1-2 punch with Max Gawn.
Yeah, exactly right. And he's a young man still. Like, he's contracted for a few more years at Fremantle. He's happy here. He's settled here. He's really, really enjoying this Fremantle group. And the one thing with this Fremantle group, Stevo, there's no egos. The most extroverted two on field is Pat Voss and also Shea Bolton. But Shea's a very measured, quietly spoken young man. He's a great leader of all the Indigenous boys down there at Fremantle. And Pat Voss is Pat Voss. But that's what they needed. They needed a little bit of that, but everyone buys in. There's no, look at me about them. They're very, very connected. And Luke Jackson, my oh my, that performance against the Cats. Now, did Chris Scott hold something back? We've heard that narrative all week. I'm not so sure. They may have. It's all well and good saying, we held something back, but it's a difficult thing to do when you're stopping someone, as we say, this unicorn, this absolute runaway train that Luke Jackson is at the moment.
Yeah, I think the talk of Chris Scott holding something back is complete nonsense. So you fly all the way over the Nullarbor, you get in the game, get a chance to win, and say, hang on, I might just pull back and lose this one just to keep my cards close to my chest, just in case we get to play Freo again over here. That is complete gobbledygook. And, Luke Jackson was just simply too good, Diggers. And, we've seen it week after week with the Dockers. The only issue, I suppose, is the goal kicking, and we've seen the yips come in the past. This is the old Freo. At times they can tighten up a little bit, but they're able to turn that bad kicking around.
They were, Stevo. And look, I hear you with what you're saying about the old Freo, but they were down by 28 points in that second quarter against Geelong. The old Freo would have said, you know what, it's just not our night. We'll have a bit of a dip, but we'll probably turn our toes up and we'll lose by 2 or 3 goals and we'll move on to Gold Coast, and then we'll go and try to get GWS in Canberra, and then we'll set ourselves for Sydney. Not this group. They said, you know what? There's still a bit of football to be played here. We're winning enough key indicators to suggest we're in this game. If we straighten up in front of goal, we're going to be right there when the whips are cracking. And that's what they did. They kicked the last 3 goals of that first half. They were within striking distance at half time. And then in the third quarter, they put the foot to the floor and they put a real margin between themselves and the Cats. They're elite. They are genuinely elite, Fremantle.
Well, give us a tip then in this game. You've already said easily. Are you going 50 plus?
No, I'm not, just because of the weather, Stevo. It's a 3 to 4 goal game, which I think in normal conditions equates to 6 or 7. That's how confident I am that Fremantle will get the job done. They'll handle the conditions. They're a better skilled outfit than just about any other side in the comp. I'd argue maybe Sydney are an equal to them. They use the ball particularly well, so their cream will rise to the top here. I think it's a 20, 25-point game.
Well, more purple positivity. That's the Freo Dockers. Now, moving on to West Coast. They've had a rest. They haven't beaten Carlton. You tell me, is this true? They haven't beaten Carlton for 5 years.
Yeah, exactly right, Steve. And that probably correlates with some of the woes that West Coast have had, certainly last year in Andrew's first season and at the back end of Adam Simpson's tenure as well. But they've had a real issue with Carlton because Carlton have battered pretty deep midfield, and then they've provided their forward line with ample opportunities. And I know that Charlie Curnow is no longer there, but he has dined out on West Coast previously. Harry Mackay's also chipped in. So those forwards at Carlton have had a glut of opportunities, and more often than not, they've taken those opportunities.
Yeah, West Coast will be stronger this week. What's the lineup looking like, Diggers? Because they'll need everything they've got.
They will, Steve, and they'll get some reinforcements this week, which is really important for them. So Jack Graham's missed a bit of football with a shoulder injury. He'll be back. Now, Willem Dersma, missed that game against North Melbourne with a calf twinge. He's likely to be available. And Tom McCarthy missed also with a hamstring strain, and he'll be back. And he finds a lot of football off half-back. So if you put in a Dersma and a Graham to that midfield, that's going to be pretty important against the Carlton on-ball division. And clearly McCarthy, as that user off half-back, is going to be integral to the way that Andrew McQualter and West Coast want to go about it. So expect those 3 boys to come back in.
Yeah, I'm having a look at this game and I've got a slight asterisk on it. There's something about it, Diggers. Carlton have won 5 in a row. They've already penciled in 7 in a row. They're talking up Josh Fraser. They're talking up dual rising suns with Jagger Smith and Harry Dean. I think that there's a small chance they could get ahead of themselves. It can happen, Josh Fraser's even taken the hoodie off for a media appearance. He's done it in a polo. So he's clearly now doing job interviews. I've just got a feeling that West Coast will be competitive in this game. At some stage, Carlton are just going to lose a bit of their vibe.
Well, we'll see. But certainly over the past 3 to 4 weeks, West Coast have been competitive in all of those games. And one of those games was the Scott Pendlebury milestone match, wasn't it, in front of 90,000? And had West Coast got maybe a little bit more of a rub of the green from the umpires and taken their opportunities when going inside 50, who knows? They might have caused the upset of the season. So their body of work in the past 4 to 5 weeks has been quite encouraging. It's a tough task for mine, though, for them to go over there and stop this Carlton side, which looks to be reinvigorated under Josh.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Hopefully the harmonica comes out again for Carlton supporters. What you think of that, Diggers? I think it was a nice little touch.
I loved it. I like the first song, Piano Man. I think that's a good one, Stevo. You would have danced to that many a time in your younger years. And then the rat-da-da-da-da, I like that as well. And clearly he's a different character, Cottrell. So all in all, I thought it was terrific.
Yeah, hopefully you can come up with something this week. But yeah, I think the Dockers have got something. They'll obviously miss Jinby, who, he was in good form. Since he's been out, people are talking him up like he's Jeff Southby. People get better the longer they're out, Diggers, as you know. But he was very important, and people say, look, they would have won without him.
Well, that's the thing. Like with Ruben, he's missing football for a fair chunk. And look, he's trying to get back. He was running around at training earlier this week, so that's encouraging. But you'd like to think he's back end of the year at best, and Harry Edwards is still very much in the concussion protocols. Fit and available, both are in that back six. They're not, and we did see it, and we mentioned it, Steve, on the lead up to that North game with no Jinby. What would those North forwards do? Well, Jack Darling and Nick Larkey combined for more than half of North Melbourne's goals. So Harry Mackay will potentially be licking his lips this week.
He should, Harry, but Harry being Harry, you never know what you're going to get. But if you're having a bet, you'd think that he'd be a chance to snag a few. So looking ahead for the Eagles, what's the sort of pass mark to round out the season? Can they jag a couple more? Even if they go through winless from here, is it still a win?
Oh, well, I think given the platform which they've been able to build, they'd be disappointed if they weren't able to win another couple. I think if they could win 2 more, that gives them 6. That's a pretty good return on what we saw last year, given they only won them once. If they win 3, that's a real bonus, no doubt about that. But I would think clearly they're going to be staring at multiple wins, 3 and 4, in all likelihood, 2 to 3. And if they're winning 6 or 7 games, West Coast, off, as we said, what they produced in Andrew's first season, I think everyone inside the 4 walls at that football club would be quite content.
Yeah, I think with a bye, coming off a bye, I think that'll suit West Coast. So I've just got a close watch on the first quarter in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles are in front at the first change. What's your tip in that one, Diggers? Just give us a margin.
Yeah, I think Carlton, 20, 25 points. What they're not doing, Carlton, is blowing sides away. Their numbers are really good, clearly. They've improved in so many areas under Josh. But West Coast, for mine, have been in decent nick. And as I said, you get back a Dersma, you get back a Graham, and you get back a McCarthy. They become considerably stronger. So I would have thought this is a 3 to 4 goal game.
All right, there's the Eagles.
Could a mullet with tightly tapered sides reduce wind resistance, allowing for faster acceleration off the mark? Now that's something to think about. What are you really gambling with?
Diggers, another news segment, the News Hound segment, what's making headlines in Perth. When I look at Justin Longmuir, obviously he's coaching beautifully at the moment, but he's only on effectively an EBA, a year-to-year agreement, like us mere mortals here at Zero Hanger. So he hasn't got a long-term deal. No. Is he gettable?
Short answer, no. Justin is not going anywhere. And why would you want to go anywhere? Look, he's on what they call an ongoing employment agreement. So that was struck between he and the football club in order to take away a lot of the noise, the speculation about his future heading into 2026. And now that they're winning games of football, people are saying, oh, well, is he gettable? He has been, I suppose the question has been posed to him, would you take a phone call from X, Y, and Z? And he's been very consistent and said, no, I'm not interested. So I think if you're a club in the East Coast, if you're Tassie, if you're Carlton, if you're Essendon, you ask the question, absolutely you do. but expect a pretty firm no, because Justin Longmuir was committed to this football club. And Stevo, I know they haven't won anything yet. But this list is built for the next 5 to 6 years. If Fremantle aren't playing in grand finals and winning premierships over the next 5 to 6 years, I will fall off my chair, because they are as well placed. They are better placed with their list bill and the list profile than any club in the competition. And I think the margin to the second club is absolutely stark.
Well, you have fallen in love, Diggers, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Week by week, it's just got stronger, but he's only human. Let's just say Carlton comes to him with a 6-year deal worth $8 million, or say $10 million. Come and save our footy club. You'd have to be tempted by that, particularly if he could get a flag in his back pocket at Freo and then say, well, I've done that. I've achieved the purple power here. Maybe I can go to Carlton.
Stevo, I hear you. I'll tell you one thing, and you know Western Australia, we've got a fair bit of money over here. There's a lot of white-collar supporters of Fremantle who have got absolutely deep pockets. I think Justin is going to be very, very well looked after at Fremantle during his coaching days and post-football. He's set up.
All under the soft cap, no doubt, Diggers.
Yeah, no doubt, yes.
All good. Now, let's move on to the Diggers list. I love this segment. So I've just been looking at some of the wins recruiting-wise for Freo. So I'll ask you, from 5 to 1, the best recruiting masterstrokes, sort of left field ones. They haven't always been top 10 picks. The list build here has been extraordinary. So players that are on the list at the moment, give us your top 5 masterstrokes from recruiters.
Well, I think we could probably go to a top 10, Stevo. So you can talk about a Switkowski, who was a late pick all the way back. I think it was 2016-17, or he was pick 70. Isaiah Dudley, an SSP. Carl Warner as a rookie. But we are going to go from 5 to 1, with 1 being the most impressive selection. And 5 is Pat Voss, who was taken as an SSP pick. He was delisted by Essendon, and that was, I think, in February 2024. He kicked 37 goals last year. He's already kicked 26 from 13 games this year, and alongside Amos and Tracy, as part of that three-headed beast forward of the ball, that's combined for more than 90 goals. Pat Vossi signed up until the end of 2030. I think they'd be rapt with how they have been able to acquire him and the influence that he's had, Steve. I think you'd agree with that.
Oh, he's been extraordinary. Imagine him still at Essendon helping out Caddy. I mean, they're desperate for any sort of X factor. They're relying on Kako coming in and out of the side. So he's injured at the moment, but they need some height. So that's a big loss. What about the next one?
Well, this might even be selling this young man short. Murphy Reid, we've spoken about it. He is pick 17 in that 2024 national draft. There's been a lot of chatter this week about Ross Lyon and the like, but this young man's played 38 games. I think he's kicked 37 goals. Has not missed a game. Has not missed a beat since arriving at Fremantle. You saw what he did against Geelong. He's an exquisite talent, and he could well be All-Australian in his second year. And he was a late first rounder. So I think Murphy Reid and Fremantle, it's a pretty good union, that one.
Yeah, they've done well. A lot of talk over here about the periphery of Murphy Reid and just some attitudinal issues, but you can't always recruit perfect people. He's a young lad who's obviously growing into himself, and from what I hear, he's been a great addition club-wise at Freo.
Model citizen, as I said, has just slipped in, and this is what we talk about with Fremantle, Steve. There's no egos. He's come in as an elite young talent, and he's just slotted in. He's done everything Fremantle have asked of him, and his summer this year, according to those inside the four walls at Coburn, was just brilliant. Did everything he could to give himself an opportunity to be better in year 2 than year 1, and that's exactly what he's done. So he is number 4. Number 3, Sean Darcy. Now, this young man is, not so much at the crossroads of his career, because he's got to get fit and he's playing some decent football at waffle level. But he was picked 38 in 2016, and he's a best and fairest winner at Fremantle. That was all the way back in 2021. He's played in excess of 130 games, and I still think he's in their best 23. So Sean Darcy, as a big raw-boned kid, I think it was down there at Geelong, he was there for everyone to get, and Fremantle cherry-picked him at a selection which I think surprised a few, and he's been very, 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 very good for Fremantle when available.
But what's the talk over there if it comes to the crunch? Is it Big Cocker or is it the man you're talking about, Sean Darcy?
Yeah, it's a good call. I think once he's fit and firing, it'll be Darcy ahead of Cox, Stevo.
What about at number 2, Diggers?
Luke Ryan, a two-time All-Australian who was taken pick 66 in the 2016 National Draft. A very, very good player. He was a Simpson medal winner in the 2017 Waffle Grand Final, so he had to learn. I think one thing Luke had to learn is a little bit of professionalism when he came into the AFL system. But, when he's fit and firing, he is one of the first picked. He's a very creative player. I think he's a terrific zone-off defender. Could be better one-on-one? I think so. But one thing Luke Ryan can do is play on talls and smalls, and he's been very, very consistent for Fremantle since entering the AFL system. So for me, I think you'd be pretty happy if you can get a player who's a two-time All-Australian with selection 66 in a national draft.
Yeah, he's one for the common man. He doesn't look like an elite athlete in any way. In some time, he looks like a suburban
shape's
footballer.
Probably not there, is it? He's not as cut as some of the others. Not like you, Stevo.
Oh, well, we can't talk, Diggers, but he's certainly not cut. He looks like he's just walked out of the Cottesloe Hotel half the time. But he gets the job done, and it takes all shapes and sizes.
Yes.
I mean, I've got to say, Dudley's looking a lot fitter too, the little man.
Yeah.
Isn't he a cult figure? Yep. And I reckon he's stiff not to be on your list. Who's number 1?
Josh Tracy.
Oh,
Talking about man. I've got a lot of man crushes at the Purple Football Club, haven't I? This young man picked 7 in a rookie draft in 2020. He's still only 23. He's closing in on 100 games. For mine, he's the best power forward in the competition. He's going to play 250 games for this Fremantle Football Club. I think in time he will be the captain of the Fremantle Football Club. There's been the comparisons to Wayne Carey and the way that he goes about it. He's got wonderful hands. He should be an All-Australian for mine. And again, he's a rookie draft selection, Josh Tracy. I think a lot of clubs would be sitting back, scratching their heads and saying, how in the hell did we see Josh Tracy arrive at Fremantle via the rookie draft? It's unfathomable.
Oh, it is. I wonder what the knock on him was. Was it his second efforts, perhaps his work on the ground? Was he seen as a mark and kick too slow? But I'll call it now. Josh Tracy will be in the Australian Football Hall of Fame. I think he will be captain. I think he is a superstar. He's only going to get better. You know why? Because he's a pure footballer. He does the right thing at the right time. He does the team things. He's not just an athlete. And Wayne Carey is clearly the best footballer that I've seen. And you can see a little bit of the duck in Tracy. Yeah. So you can't give more than that.
Respectfully to some other key forwards who have been very, very effective. You, me, and I dare say a few in our era, you want your big key forwards to play like men, to be that imposing individual. And Josh Tracy is everything that you want from a power forward. He's a beauty, an absolute beauty. He's one of the standout players in the competition.
Oh, I love it, Diggers. Now, for TABtouch, Real Punters Play here, give us a tip or two for the weekend coming up.
All right, $3.45 is on offer from TABtouch, Stevo, and that is for the Carlton West Coast game. And it is a same-game multi. It is for Carlton to win, Sam Walsh to have 25 plus disposals. He's in really good nick at the moment. And Jake Waterman and Harry Mackay to kick 2 plus goals. So with TABtouch, $3.45. I think that's a really good suggestion.
That's a good one. They've got to kick straight though. Harry Mackay and Waterman got to kick straight first. So that's the only worry.
So maybe it's not a good suggestion, but let's hope that Jake's radar after the break is on point. And the Fremantle game here, I've tried to keep it nice and simple. $2.12 Fremantle 1 to 39. As I said, I think they win by 20 to 25 points. Given this surface here, it's going to be underwater. We're expecting a really, really significant amount of rain. So $2.12 for Fremantle 1 to 39 Sunday evening here in Perth.
Thanks, Diggers. Another entertaining show. I'm off to watch some Josh Tracy videos. I'm in love with that guy, but I'm going to run off now and have a look at a few Tracy vids. We'll catch you next week.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.